to help that, we have Varun, and Varun, please take it up with the introduction and then into the session.
Thank you, Catherine. My name is Varun Gupta, and I'm a security engineer from Macrosec Limited. I like to do offensive security research mainly in Windows security and Active Directory. And then I've even done some offensive security research for Wi-Fi hacking, which I'll show today, and also in phishing campaigns. So yeah, those are my interests. And yeah, let's begin. So I don't have any slides prepared or anything. It's a practical live demo, which I will show you guys on how to hack into Wi-Fi networks. Basically, our main topic would be for evil twin attack. But before we go to that, let's see how we can crack our WPA2 password by using a simpler technique whereby people have not used strong Wi-Fi passwords. So let's see how we can do that. So first, I just typed ifconfig, and you can see I have a wireless adapter attached to my Kali. It's an Atheros, it's an alpha wireless adapter with an Atheros, I think 9271 chipset. So that's basically one of the most famous Wi-Fi adapters used for hacking wireless networks. And if I show iwconfig, you will see right now it's in managed mode, my Wi-Fi adapter. So first of all, we need to kill any running processes which might interfere with M1NG. So once we do that, so that we can do by running this command M1NG check kill, you can see WPA supplicant has been killed, and that was for my network manager. So now that has stopped running. And then I need to do M1NG start LAN 0. Once I do that, yeah, you can even see the chipset. It's Atheros AR9271. Right, and now if I do iwconfig, you will see my interface has changed from LAN 0 to LAN 0 mon, and the mode has even changed to monitor mode. So that means we can now monitor packets through air, because of course Wi-Fi packets are transmitted via air. So now my adapter is able to monitor those packets. So first of all, to see which Wi-Fi networks are in our vicinity, we just need to run this simple command, aerodump-ng, and then the interface, which is LAN 0 mon in our case. Once I start that, you'll see various Wi-Fi networks pop around me. In our case, and then once you see our target network, we can press Ctrl+C to quit it. And our target network, which will be cracking, is KCSFA demo. This is from my mobile hotspot I've just set up to demonstrate this attack. So yeah, after that, we are going to target this specific network by providing the BSS ID. Now, BSS ID is the MAC address of the router, or in this case, my mobile hotspot. So now if you had a Huawei router, then the BSS ID of that Huawei router would be different. The first 6 digits at least would be different. So that's how you can know which vendor it is. Maybe I can give a demonstration. So if I just take this and go to MAC address lookup, Just paste this first 6 digits. Sorry, lookup vendor. Yeah. Actually, it's lookup MAC. Yeah. So if I just check that, you can see it's a Huawei router. So that's how you can even figure out which router the target is using. Yeah, but in my case, if I use this MAC address, I don't think so I'll get a result because it's a mobile hotspot. Let's just try it. You can see it won't give us a result because it's a mobile hotspot, not an actual router. So that's how you can know the vendor for your routers. Then this is power, like as to how far the signal strength of that wireless network. The higher it is, the better the signal strength. So in our case, it's -46, which is, as you can see, the highest. So that's why it's the closest to me. And then others are just not that relevant. We need the channel number and the encryption, which it's using, it's WPA2, PSK, and the ESSID, that's the SSID or the Wi-Fi network name. So now let's run this other command. So now we are just targeting this specific MAC address, that's 7A, this thing, and then just paste it. And then -C for channel, that's channel 1. Just confirm, yeah. And then minus right. So in which file do I need to save the capture the PCAP file? That's where the hash, the WPA2 hash should be stored and which we would be using to crack. So I will just name it WPA crack, or let's just name it ACSFA demo. And then we supply it with our interface, that's LAN 0 mon. And now once I press enter, it will start looking for WPA2 handshake. As you can see, there are no devices connected to this network. So let's go to my Windows virtual machine. Even in this, I'm using now another Wi-Fi adapter to get wireless networks, to connect to wireless networks. And just keep an eye out over here on this side. Once I connect, it should say WPA2 handshake captured. So let's just connect to it. This we are assuming is the victim machine. This Windows virtual machine is the victim machine. And this one, as you can see, WPA handshake is captured and other device has joined. Once we see that, we can just do Control-C to quit it. So, okay, let me get back. So as I was saying, this our Kali is the attacker machine. And this one, this Windows virtual machine is our victim machine. Let's assume that we don't have any access to this Windows machine, but just for demonstration purposes, we are just assuming that we are the victim as well for this Windows machine. And as you saw, we had to manually connect to this Wi-Fi network for us to capture the handshake. So any client might have to disconnect from the Wi-Fi network and connect back for us to capture the handshake. Now, if we don't want to wait for that long, there is something called a deauthentication attack, whereby we can send deauth packets to a specific client, to a specific device, and that device will just lose internet connection for a minute, and not even a minute, for a few seconds, and connect back, and we will have our WPA handshake. And if the phone was in the pocket or someone was away from the device, then they wouldn't even realize something like that happened. And even if they were looking at the phone, they would just think that maybe the Wi-Fi got disconnected, there was some glitch, or there was some issue in the Wi-Fi for a few seconds, now it's back, so they will continue, and they won't even realize that an attacker actually did that intentionally to capture WPA handshake. So once we have captured that WPA handshake, now all we need is to crack the password. So first, let's see our file KCSFA. So we will be using this KCSFA demo01.cap. That's where our WPA handshake is stored. We will be using this rocku.txt word list to crack the hash. And the command for that is simply crackng and then KCSFA demo.cap and then -w to specify that we are specifying the word list, and that would be in root. Actually, it's folder, so rocku.txt. I run this command. Just in a few seconds, we will see it has cracked our password. It shouldn't take that. There you go. Password 123 is our password. Now to confirm, let's do this. Let's, of course, it is the password because I had connected using that, but just to show you guys as well, if let's do forget network. This is the same password which I have typed, password 123, next, and we will be connected to the network. And that's how easy it is to hack Wi-Fi passwords, which are not that strong, like which are commonly used. So I want to throw a question to the floor. What do you think could be some of the preventions or some of the defenses for this type of an attack? Anyone can just unmute and answer. No one wants to answer? Okay, fine. Let me just answer then. So the biggest defense would be to use strong, complicated passwords. Just don't use something like password 123 and use something which is unique, which is at least 10 characters and the combination of lowercase, uppercase, symbols, numbers, special characters. It should be a combination of those, and it's unique to you so that it's not cracked so easily, like the way I just showed you in a few seconds, right? So that's one type of an attack. Yeah, and which can only work if the victim has used a weak password or something which is easily guessable. And as I just showed you. Now, the evil twin attack is mainly a social engineering attack. So now, in this case, no matter how strong of a password you use, it will still be, the attacker will still be able to get that password. So now let's go to the evil twin attack. So for that, let's disconnect from the Wi-Fi again. And now I'll just change the password of my Wi-Fi to something stronger. Just give me 1 minute. Okay, so I have changed the password now. So now if we try to capture the handshake and crack it like that, it won't work. So now let's go to the evil twin attack, and this tool called Fluxion, which is an automated Wi-Fi hacking tool. So you just install it by going to this GitHub repository of Fluxion, Google Fluxion network, and then you'll see the instructions here, git clone, or you can use this git clone, then you go to cd Fluxion, and then you just type /fluxion.sh. If it says some features or some libraries are missing, then you just type .fluxion.sh space -i, like so. But as I have already installed everything, I just need to run .fluxion.sh. And now, first we will do handshake snooper, right? To again capture that WPA handshake now using Fluxion. So you will see how easy it is to even use Fluxion. I just select number 2. And then you can do all channels at 2.4 gigahertz, all channels at 5 gigahertz, all channels at both the frequencies, or you can select a specific channel. My Wi-Fi adapters only support 2.4 gigahertz, so that's why I'll just use the option 1. You will see again, it will give you these Wi-Fi networks around us, like the way we saw previously. Now, once we see our KCSFA demo, I'll just press Ctrl+C. And then we see our KCSFA demo is number 18. So we just select number 18. And here, there is selecting wireless interface for target tracking. So some wireless networks like to jump from channel to channel if the channel gets too congested. So that's why it's asking you to select an interface, so it tracks that Wi-Fi, and even the Wi-Fi adapter jumps from channels to channel once our target Wi-Fi even jumps. In our case, that's not needed, so I'll just do skip. And then this attack has already been configured, so let me not do restore attack, so I can show you guys from the beginning. Let me just do reset attack. So what we will do is monitor passively. I will not use a deauthentication attack because it can take some time, and it is prone to some issues which I don't want to experience during live demo, but during an actual pen test, you guys can use this. And of course, you only use this if you have permission from the target you are trying to hack. Monitor. And then I will do PATI verification for the verification of hash, as it's recommended method. And then it should check for the handshake every 30 seconds. So after it sees that it has captured the handshake in like 30 seconds, then it will stop monitoring the Wi-Fi network. So and then I will use synchronously to verify the hash. Now you can see it has started. So now from over here again, it will show WPA captured. So let me just try to connect that using my phone. connect to this Wi-Fi network so that we can get the handshake. Actually, let's just do it on the Windows machine. So this is again our victim machine. I'll just do connect automatically. And it's connected. So hopefully we should have a captured handshake. You can see we have captured a handshake. After it reaches 30 seconds, the attack should stop. Yes, you can see it has stopped. Attack completed, close this window and start another attack. So let me close it. I do, sorry, I select. Now we will do captive portal, which creates an evil twin access point. So basically what this evil twin attack will do, it will take this KCSFA demo Wi-Fi network and send the authentication packet so that no client can connect to the actual KCSFA demo. But then my wireless adapter will create another KCSFA demo, which would be an open Wi-Fi network, right? So let's see till there as to how it does it. So we will see that if you want to continue with this target, I'll select yes. Again, I will do skip. Again, let me do reset attack. Select an interface for the access point. So which interface do I want to use to act as an access point, like for that open Wi-Fi network, which I was telling you about. So I'll use the LAN 01 and then select a method of the authentication. You guys can use either of the three. I have seen MDK4 works the best for me, so I'll use that. And do I want to use the rogue AP with host APD or Airbase NG? I will use the host APD because that's recommended and it's not slow. Then again, for verification method, I will use Cowpretty again. And then do you want a hash for the target AP was found, which we captured in the earlier attack, the WPA hash. So we'll just use the hash found, or we could specify the path to the hash, like the way we had manually captured the hash earlier using aircrack arrow dump ng. We could even specify the path to the hash like that, but in our case, let's just go with the hash Fluxion captured itself. Then again, we will use Cowpretty verification method. Then we will create an SSL certificate. So it has a HTTPS for the captive portal, and then we will use disconnected because it's recommended. And now it will ask us to select the vendor. So let's say if we select Huawei, then it will give the captive portal page whereby the victim has to enter the Wi-Fi password. It will look like a Huawei page. That's why I had shown you that getting the vendor is important by using the MAC address, so that once you know the vendor, you can select the correct vendor. But in our cases, it's just a mobile hotspot. Let's just go with one of the common ones, which is like TP-Link router, right? So I'll just select 67. So they are even in different languages. So I'll select the one in English, which is 67. And then as soon as I select 67, the attack will start. You will see we will be disconnected from this Wi-Fi network and another Wi-Fi will pop up. So let's just. Many screens have opened up. this terminal is providing the DHCP services. This one is making that new open Wi-Fi, the evil twin Wi-Fi, or rogue access point, whatever you want to call it. This one will see the clients which are online, which have connected to that rogue access point. This one is sending the deauthentication packet so that no clients can communicate or connect to the original Wi-Fi network. And this one is showing the web services to serve the captive portal. And this one is the domain name server services. Go to the Windows machine, you can see I have lost connectivity. Even if I try to connect, it will just not connect. It will just refuse to connect. And you can see another case, SFA demo Wi-Fi has been created. You can see it has even refused to connect. Let's just give it a minute so it scans for Wi-Fi again. Yes. Yeah. So now if a layman, if they see an open Wi-Fi with the same name, they will think, okay, it's my own, there could be some glitch. So and I just want the internet access. So let me just connect to that open Wi-Fi, right? Like they want a person who is not that aware or who is not vigilant, won't think twice about connecting to an open Wi-Fi network of the same name, because they would think that it's my own Wi-Fi only, it's no one else's. So they will connect to that. Then they will try to browse the internet. And let's say if they go to google.com, they won't be taken to google.com. They would be redirected to a captive portal. You can see there is a router configuration page, and it says that there is a firmware upgrade. So you need to enter your Wi-Fi password, WPA password, for you to upgrade the router, and then you will get your connectivity to the internet again. And you can see it's a TP-Link. It has the TP-Link name and copyright and everything to make it look like it's actually a TP-Link firmware upgrade. So the victim goes like, okay, I don't want to enter my original password. They just enter some random password and do click on start upgrade. It will actually say it's a wrong password. Yeah. So it will tell you to go back, and again, the victim just enters some random password. Again, it will say the wrong password. Then finally, the victim goes like, okay, fine, like I really want to access the internet. I have some important work. Let me just enter the correct password. So now it starts to enter the correct password. Then click on start upgrade. Once it enters the correct password, it will now even give this fake progress bar that, okay, the firmware is actually upgrading, but it's nothing. It's just an animation, hard-coded HTML code, so, or CSS and JavaScript code. So now you will see all those attacks have stopped. Everything has stopped, and now we get connection to our original Wi-Fi again, because that open Wi-Fi has gone. So the victim will actually think that actually, yeah, the firmware upgrade happened, and that's why now I have gotten access back to the internet. Now you can see we can now access google.com again. But they don't know that the attacker has already captured the password, which is in this location in this file. So let's go to this location. So let's now exit out of Flexion. And then let's do cat. Let's just do cd attacks. captive portal. That was the evil twin attack which we did. And then you will see there is netlog. So we go to cd netlog. You will see our KCSFA demo.log. So if I do get KCSFA demo.log, we will see this is our actual password. As you can see, it has numbers, it has symbols, and it was able to capture this password. Right, and not just that, if we go to the PWD log and do cat KCSFA demo, we will see even the wrong attempts which that person had put, the victim had put, and until they finally put the correct attempt. So even all the wrong attempts are even logged. So let's say if they just put evil twin attack in just normal lowercase without any symbols, and then they just gave up and just disconnected from internet, still we will have some form of an idea as to which combination to use to brute force and crack the WPA password using the earlier method which I had shown you. So this is how now evil twin attack works. Now again, let me try it. Hopefully now someone will answer what could be some of the defenses or prevention mechanisms to protect yourself from such an attack. Anyone? Yes, Walter?
Yes, I think one of them is just awareness, so that users are able to pick up the twin Wi-Fi from the SSID list and avoid it.
Yep, that's very accurate. Anything else you can think of, or anyone else?
I think you avoid connecting to any Wi-Fi that is open available on your range.
That's an amazing answer. That's actually one of the perfect answers. Like, just never ever connect to any open Wi-Fi network, be it at a coffee shop or your home, university, work area. Just never connect to an open Wi-Fi network. Anyone else?
Can we use access control in the Wi-Fi portal to block any unknown IPs or MAC addresses from accessing the Wi-Fi?
Yes, you can do that, but that will not stop the attacker from gaining your Wi-Fi password, because as you saw, the attacker didn't even connect, like my Kali machine didn't even connect to the Wi-Fi network at all, and I could get the password. Again, after getting the password, I can check which MAC addresses are connected to the Wi-Fi network, and I can spoof my MAC address, my attacker Kali machine's MAC address, to make it look like that it's one of the MAC addresses which are allowed to connect to the Wi-Fi network, and I can still get access to the Wi-Fi. So it's a good defense. It will make attackers' life harder a bit, but it will not stop them completely. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I've understood.
Okay, cool. Anyone else?
Okay, I can try.
Yeah.
I think setting up the authentication detector, so that once the authentication attack is initiated, you're able to realize and take action.
Okay, so something of intrusion detection system or intrusion prevention systems.
Yes.
Yeah, that can work. That's a really good point. Thanks. Anyone else?
I also think maybe in a corporate setup, we can look at checking rogue devices on the network, because the evil twin would have to be a, depends. I mean, you could still drive and do it, but if you're able to detect rogue device on a network, it might address a scenario where the physical AP is within your network.
Yes. Yes, that works. But again, as you saw, the attack was pretty quick. So it just took what, if, as this was the demonstration, I took you guys a bit slower, but this attack can be done in 5 minutes or 10 minutes maximum. And by then, if someone is not actively checking for rogue networks, then the attacker has already done this attack and removed his rogue AP and gone with the password. So it's again, that someone has to be like on duty to be continuously checking, or some program has to be, some automated script has to be set up to that it continuously checks for rogue AP and sends an alert as soon as one pops up. So yeah, again, that can work. Thanks for that. Anyone else?
Maybe at a higher level,
Yes.
kind of close to the rogue AP. So here, if we look at UE, assuming you have monitoring capability across the network, then if we consider user and entity behavior analysis, then when this device is added on the network straight away, because we're not only looking at the user, but you're looking at the devices as well, the entity bit, you're looking at the devices, you're looking at the traffic, you're looking at the applications. So the moment we see another similar Wi-Fi within our traffic, then it's flagged off. When we see a new device on the network, it's flagged off. So I'm looking at it from a SOC perspective as well. Yeah.
Yep, that makes sense. So behavioral analysis.
I can try one more.
Yeah, sure.
So when using monitoring software, let's say on corporate networks, you're usually monitoring the number of active clients connected. So in the event you notice a significant drop, so that'll be caused by the denial of service that's taking place. That can be a huge detection point to take action immediately, or just start actively looking if everything looks normal around us.
Yep, that makes sense.
And what about in organizations? For example, the scenario like PwC, where computers that are set up to access a certain Wi-Fi, they're given digital certificates. And those digital certificates, in order for you to access the Wi-Fi network, when you log in, the login credentials are encrypted from the client side and sent to the server. So that if anyone doesn't have the certificate installed in the machine during the configuration of during the Wi-Fi configuration, you cannot be able to get the login credentials in terms of, you cannot be able to understand what the client is sending. Can that be a solution?
Okay, so if I'm getting you correctly, there should be a digital certificate installed on the machine, and then only if that digital certificate is installed on the machine, then only that device or that machine can connect to the Wi-Fi network, right?
Yes.
Okay, yes, that's a really good point. It can work, but it won't stop the attacker from getting the password. But once the attacker gets the password, again, if that attacker's device doesn't have that digital certificate, then he or she won't be able to connect to the Wi-Fi network. Now, what the attacker need to do is find a way to get into one of the devices in the network and try to exfiltrate that digital certificate and install it in their own PC or on their own device and connect to Wi-Fi network. So yes, that's a point because it makes the attackers much harder, and it makes the attacker go some few extra steps for them to get into the network. And at the end of the day, the best defense is just to try to make the attacker's life as hard as possible. So yeah, thanks for that, Michael.
Someone has a question on the chat. Mr. Munga asks, is using Radius server vulnerable to the same attack?
Radius server, you mean the WPA2 enterprise?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, I have not actually gotten a chance to try this attack on WPA2 enterprise networks, but I would like to think so that it is still vulnerable to this same thing, because it's a social engineering attack. It's not a vulnerability inside the Wi-Fi network. It's basically we are exploiting the people, not the technology.
But my question was because the users in this case, they don't have to put their username and password, just checking from the authentication server somewhere.
Okay. But isn't it that the WPA2 enterprise has a login for every user, and then let's say if you are a university student or if you are in on an organization, you as an employee might have like your own login credentials, and you will be redirected to a captive portal, which you just saw, and you will key in your credentials, the username and password, then only you'll get access to the internet, right? That's how WPA2 enterprise works, in my opinion, isn't it?
Yes, when restricted on it to check the user credentials and also check that the machine or the device that is connecting. So if it's
okay. Yeah, so now the way I created that, the way Fluxion created this fake captive portal, I can still create a fake captive portal which looks exactly the same as the enterprise, whereby the employee has to key in their credentials. And then for checking of the device, as I had mentioned earlier, the attacker can spoof the MAC address of the victim and make it look like that it's one of the allowed devices. So that's how we can still modify, tweak this attack a bit and still use it for WPA2 enterprise networks. Does that make sense?
Thanks.
Most welcome. And I see Walter had another question. There was a -1. Okay, I didn't exactly notice that one. Maybe I can try to back to monitor mode. No, sorry, manage mode. So let's just do it. NG, sorry. Okay, I can see this Wi-Fi network. Okay, I think it's some other devices which could be interfering. Basically, when it shows that length 0, it's some hidden Wi-Fi networks, but I'm not exactly sure which Wi-Fi network is this. There is no way any Wi-Fi network can have such a signal. Maybe it could be the VirtualBox adapter itself or something of that sort. So I'm not so sure, but thanks for pointing that out. Maybe I will try to dig deeper into that. And yes, for your second question, yes, I did offline cracking. But before to get the hash, I had to passively monitor the air traffic. And then once I got the WPA handshake, I did offline cracking. Anyone else? Okay, so I guess pretty much everyone has covered everything. Thank you for all those wonderful answers. Just from my side, one, do not ever connect to open Wi-Fi as mentioned earlier. Second thing, now you need to conduct cybersecurity awareness trainings for your employees or students and people in the organization, so that if now once someone has seen this evil twin attack happening, that you are kicked out of your original Wi-Fi and now you can't just connect back to it and another open Wi-Fi is being seen. Then once you have seen this attack happening live, then you know already if something like that happens in actual real life scenario, you guys will automatically know that it's an evil twin attack and you won't just connect to that open Wi-Fi network, right? And then the third thing, you can just manually go and restart your router, and the attack, that the authentication packets should be stopped because there is no Wi-Fi network now to send the authentication attack packets. And once you start it back off, the attacker will have to configure now, unless the attacker is very persistent that it won't, that person just wants to keep on doing the attack, then that's a different case. But just to stop it, maybe some for the attackers which do not have such determination, then you can just go and restart the router and you should be able to connect back to your original Wi-Fi. Yes, so those were some of the prevention mechanisms from my side. So yeah, I guess that marks the end of my demo/presentation. If anyone else has any comments, questions, any criticisms, don't hesitate, just you're free to say.
Varun, just out of curiosity, what if immediately I notice such attack is happening and then I try to change my SSID, will I really be helping in any way?
Yes, that would actually, again, no, actually it won't help because as you saw, the attacks would be targeted using the MAC address of the router, not the SSID. So if you just restart, then again, the attacker can just gain that new SSID, but the MAC address would still be the same. So the attacker can just continue using just reconfigure the attack and attack it on the new SSID. So yeah.
Thank you for that. Does anyone else has a question or a comment?
Yes, I have a last one question. How feasible is it to integrate let's say MFA into Wi-Fi or wireless networks?
To integrate what exactly?
Multi-factor authentication.
Multi-factor authentication for Wi-Fi networks. I have not seen that ever. Maybe you can say the WPA2 enterprise is kind of like MFA, because again, you have to key in your Wi-Fi password, and then once you key in your Wi-Fi password, you will be taken to a captive word. You have to put the credentials. So WPA2 enterprise, you can say it's kind of a 2FA or MFA. But again, as I had explained, even that can be easily hacked or is vulnerable to this attack. So
Does had another question?
Sure.
Does turning off the Wi-Fi or restarting it affect anything?
Sorry?
Turning off the Wi-Fi or restarting it have any effect?
Yeah, as I said, it will stop the current attack. The authentication packets will not be able to reach the Wi-Fi because it's off, and the attack should stop automatically. But then again, once the Wi-Fi is started again, then the attacker can just reconfigure the attack from scratch and continue their attack if that attacker is really, really determined to get into your network. If they are not determined, after they see that it's off, they might just go away like disappointed. So it will depend on different scenarios.